Hi guys, welcome to yet another video from Gizboard. Today we are at the Red Music Box studio, which is also the Neumann Experience Zone, which is located in Bengaluru. Today we are going to have a chat with the owner of this place, and we are also going to ask him a couple of questions why he chose to partner with Neumann and what are some of the equipment that are using in this studio. So without wasting any further time, let's do the same. Hi Varun, tell me what made you to collaborate with Neumann to set up this Neumann Experience Center in Bengaluru?
Hi, firstly, my name is Varun Murli and please welcome to the Red Music Box, and this is the Neumann Experience Center. And it really feels proud and happy to say that. And your first question is, why did I choose Neumann and how did this happen entirely? So taking the story back, I play for a band called Swaratma, and I play the guitar and handle production for the band. And we have been associated with Sennheiser for a very, very long time. We continue to use Sennheiser products live, and and that's how the association and the contact happened. And from there, it was a lot easier for us to get into Neumann because I started the studio in 2016, and since then we have been in talks of doing something with the Neumann side of things. I wanted to add Neumann to the studio. And why did I choose Neumann? Most importantly, frankly speaking, I totally believe experience plays a huge important role in practically any field. And Neumann has been around as a brand, as a top pioneer brand since 1928. And what better than that? They have been doing it since then. They have seen the times changing. They have seen the music industry change, the kind of requirements that is needed now in the industry. They're able to catch up with it, and not just catch up with it, but they're able to top it all the time. And even if you go to some of the best music studio websites across the globe, you'll always see in their gear list Neumann stuff being listed on top. So when it came to choosing Neumann, frankly speaking, there was no choice involved in it. It was just that, and it was pretty straightforward and easy for me to make that choice.
Can you give me an overview of your studio and various Neumann products that are being used in this studio, Red Box?
Yeah, so I work as a producer primarily. So what does that job involve? It involves me getting artists or people who approach me to record their music or have their music produced, meaning arrange their music in a way they like it, record them, edit them, mix them. So all of this process requires me to use a whole bunch of Neumann products, or any products for that matter, and my choice having been Neumann. So I'll start with the basic input source. First and foremost, I have a legendary piece of history in my hand. This is the Neumann U47 FET version. It's a heritage limited edition version, and feels great to even just hold it in your hand as I'm speaking, really. And so this is what I chose to capture sounds. Now, microphone is a very crucial and a vital part when you're recording anything for that matter, because mics is what actually is the first point of recording or capturing once the artist performs. Whether the artist is singing into the mic or somebody is playing a guitar and the mic is capturing the guitar performance, this is the first piece of contact before it actually reaches your software. So you want to get every piece of the chain right. So I chose the U47 because it has been trusted and tried and proven by the Frank Sinatras of the world all the way since 1928 till now. You can even check the top pop singers of today's day and age, and you will find them using Neumann in any big studios to record their vocals or instruments. There's no doubt about it. So as I said, it was not even a choice. I chose the best. And why this particular mic? One of my all-time favorite engineers, Al Schmidt, said in an interview, if there was a desert island microphone, he only had the option to have one mic with him to record everything. He said the U47 would be the mic. And I think that sealed it for me. So I got this mic for the studio. And from the microphone, when the signal leaves the mic and goes to the next piece of equipment, which is on my right in the rack, let me guide you to that, this wonderful V402 Neumann preamplifier. Now, why is the preamp so important, and why am I using this particular preamp? When your mic is capturing sounds, you want to make sure that sound is amplified in a right manner without adding any additional color that you do not desire. Color is something that people desire or don't desire. The lovely thing about the 402 is it's transparent as anything else. It's transparent as water. You can just see through whatever is going into the mic is exactly coming through this. It's not adding anything that I don't want to it. I can place the mic at the right place or the right spot that I want to, and I can know for sure that this preamplifier is not doing anything else added to it. It has wonderful features, very simple to use, and in fact I got my head around this in practically 5 minutes. So to begin with, let me guide you to some of the great features here. It has 60 decibels of gain, which is a lot that you require for any kind of recording scenarios. Whether you're recording some kind of a quiet orchestral part or you're recording a loud rock band, 60 dB of gain is a lot. And it has 2 high Z inputs. You can connect your favorite instruments, whether it's guitar, keyboard, synthesizer, bass, whatever you want to track through this. And they have really high quality switches for your high Z inputs for these to be turned on and off. And they glow as well, so that's an added feature. And they have a 48 volt phantom power, and phantom power is required to power microphones such as the U47 that I just showed you a few moments ago. A 20 dB pad switch, which is highly handy if you're working with heavy or hot signals, where the signal that's coming into the preamp is already really hot in your software and you want to attenuate them. So a 20 dB pad switch, very handy. A polarity switch, which is again very useful, especially when you're tracking stereo instruments, or if you're miking an acoustic guitar with 2 different microphones, or a drum kit when you're tracking. You need polarity switch to make sure your files are in phase. You don't need to worry about doing that in the software. You can do that right here when you're tracking. And then lastly, it has a wonderful low cut or a high pass switch at 60 Hertz, which is fabulous because below 60, in most cases, you don't really need much information below 60, especially in musical scenarios, when you're tracking guitars, when you're tracking vocals, when you're tracking violin, even for that matter, snare drum, a lot of stuff like that. You don't need anything below 60 really. So it's really handy to have all these features. So what happens is, for me, I can track through this, use all these things like, polarity switches, basic low cut, high pass, and all that stuff. So I'm doing less in the mix. When I get files recorded through this microphone and a high quality preamp like these, I don't need to be EQing too much. I don't need to be compressing files too much. My amount of editing work reduces a lot. And that's what we would perfectly call as a producer or an engineer's dream, because you want to be doing less fixing later and right capturing at the performance stage. You want to capture the emotion of the artist. You want to capture the right takes. You don't want to be waiting, sitting and toggling too many things while the artist is in the zone, in the right mood to deliver the performance. You want to just be quick. Put the mic, plug this in, click a few switches, and you're good to go. And from there, once it passes through my converters, gets to my computer, files gets recorded, and it has to come out for me to listen to. I need speakers that I can really trust. I need speakers that, again, is not coloring the sound. It's giving me a transparent sound. It's allowing me to hear every detail as it was captured. I need to be able to hear these things to edit them right and to mix them right and to master them right. And my choice was the KH310 pair, and I've been loving this. Most importantly, the reason why I love these pair of speakers is because I work long sessions through the day. There are days where I'm working for about 10 hours straight. I'm tracking in the morning, going all the way till late evening. Sometimes I'm tracking, and then in the second half I'm editing the file. You can commonly suffer from ear fatigue, which really affects the way you work, because beyond a certain point, when you're struggling with ear fatigue, you cannot hear the details as clear as you were hearing it when your ears were fresh and undisturbed as such. So these speakers, they have such clean sound, and it's so smooth in the top end especially, that I don't notice such harsh frequencies hitting my ears constantly. I don't suffer from ear fatigue as much as I would with other speakers that I've used in the past. I can push them hard, I can use them for long hours, and I know that I feel good by evening. End of the day, all of my profession is depending on my hearing, so I can protect my hearing through these. They're beautiful, they're not harsh, they're great sounding speakers. Along with these speakers, another beautiful thing that I've added here is a subwoofer. Now, when you're working on stuff like film scores, or if you're doing sound design or anything, sometimes even electronic music, you need to hear sub frequencies. and sometimes just the tops alone are not enough to hear those frequencies, which is why you couple them or you complement them with a wonderful sub such as the Cage 750 DSP model. I'll come to the DSP part in a moment. You can hear all of these sub frequencies with so much detail, which I have in fact provided, and Vivek just had a wonderful time listening to some of his favorite music here. And the DSP part of it makes life really easy for somebody like me, because frankly speaking, I didn't study science. I didn't study sound engineering to so much detail, acoustic design to so much detail. Yes, we do have all these knowledge that we gain over years of experience, but I'm usually not the guy sitting in measuring rooms. Now, what does a DSP model do? A DSP model provides you with a wonderful measurement mic that I have here, and you can use this microphone along with the provided piece of software to place the speakers and the subwoofers in your environment. Use the mic to measure them, and they'll calibrate and tell you if your speakers are going to perform in its optimum performance standard. Because most importantly, what you have to remember, no matter where you put your speakers, your room plays a huge role. Acoustics of a room destroys the sound quality badly or improves the sound quality massively, because it affects how you hear things, how sound bounces off every surface around your room, and how it comes back at you makes the or changes the clarity of how you hear things very, very differently. Which is why having a DSP version and not having to break your head spending insane amount of money trying to call somebody who can sit and measure your speakers, you can do it all by yourself. All the information is provided with it. There are a lot of guiding videos and manuals that it's super clear for you to understand, and that's one of the lovely part of having a Cage 750 DSP version. They also have DSP version tops that have come out, and I think more to be coming in the future, possibly, I hope. So once you add that, you can even have complex systems such as a 5.1 setup or a 7.1.4 setup. You'll still have the DSP version to help you with calibrating all these speakers in your room. That's pretty much the overview of my studio with Neumann products and why I have chosen these products. As I've said, they're wonderful, they're reliable, they're built like a tank, they have experience on them. It's a heritage, it's a wonderful brand to have with you. I don't see why you need any more reason.
Given you yourself an artist, so can you tell me about some of the work that you have done?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of independent artists. As I said, I play for Swaratma, and a huge amount of Swaratma's work, pretty much every Swaratma's work happens over here. This is sort of like the official studio for the band. I produce music for the band. And apart from my own band, when I started the studio, I decided, why should it be restricted to just me and my music? Why can't it become a space where I can help other budding artists or other musicians out there and allow them to my space, allow them to create music here, record them here to the highest quality possible, and also have them experience these high quality products at an affordable price. That's been the Red Music Box's motto, and pretty much reaching out to a ton of indie artists. I've had singer-songwriters coming here. I've had musicians like rock bands coming here and recording stuff here. I've had so many people doing like lo-fi pop. There is indie pop, Hindi music. There's a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, recently I did a Kannada jazz song with a friend of mine, and wonderful experience. And in fact, through the pandemic, we've also done online gigs from the studio space. We've done a whole bunch of corporate events from here. While my band was performing at the tracking room, my engineer Anish was sitting here and mixing, from this space, and we were streaming live from this very location. And more than that, I've also had the opportunity to do remote projects. I produced an album for a friend of mine who lives in the United States. So we were going back and forth. I was taking all his files, running them through all these beautiful gear, and getting really good sounds out of it, processing them the way I wanted to. And it was fun, and that album is out there for you guys to listen to.
For budding artists, do you have any tips, the hacks probably to improve their quality of audio production, and is it really makes sense to for someone who might be financially not available for them to come to a studio like this and record? Like, can you
so there are a few things I've learned as an artist. I'm really glad you asked me this question, because I started off recording in my bedroom. I learned the hard way up. Things didn't just drop on my lap. I worked my way through. And I feel that's a beautiful part, because you learn you learn so much in detail that before even buying, even stuff like every piece of gear that you see in my studio, before adding them, I've made that effort to learn about it. I've tried to understand if that's a need or a want, and only then I've added these products. That's the reason I've carefully chosen every piece of gear that I have. And the wonderful thing about, recording at home is it's an imperfect space. There are a lot of issues as far as home recording is concerned. There are many challenges that you will face when you're recording music in your house, and you will learn how to kind of work around it. Every space is different. For example, simple hacks: use a carpet, helps you with your acoustic. Treat your acoustic in as best possible way as you can. It doesn't have to be expensive panels. If you don't have the budgets for it, you can even simple hacks like using your wardrobe. Leave your wardrobe open. There are clothes hanging there, clothes folded and kept there. They behave like acoustic absorption. You can hang a blanket behind you, on some kind of a wardrobe door when you're recording your vocal or something like that. Use reflection filters. There are a lot of simple hacks that you can use to make your home recordings really good. But one thing that I would like to ask you as a question is, art, being an artist, I can say is a very personal thing. It's something that you want to express in the best possible way, and you want to communicate something that you feel very deeply. So while I understand that financial constraints are huge for many artists, and it's difficult for artists to go and record at multi-million-dollar studios, I would personally welcome you to the Red Music Box, because that's the reason I set up a studio like this, to make really high quality recordings as you have imagined it, affordable for you, to help you guys through the process. Have somebody who's experienced like me, who has been doing this for such a long time. In fact, my band's going to complete 20 years of existence this year, and we've been on road. We tour, we play, we put out music, we get reviewed, we get critiques. We understand what it's like to be in that process of putting your music out and going out there and performing and whatnot. So it really makes a huge difference when you take your music. If you really value it, save up for it. It's okay if you take time and go to a studio space where you can actually record it in the best possible way. It makes a massive difference. I learned it the hard way. In fact, recording at home studio, one of the things it taught me was how many products I would buy, like cheaper products I would buy, and sell them later just to upgrade. And when I look back, I figured, man, I wasted so much amount of money just trying to buy cheaper things and upgrade. Instead, if I had waited, saved up, and bought really good quality stuff, it would have been a huge money saving factor. And at the same time, these good quality products will last you a lifetime if you really take care of it.
As a user, tell me your experience, of the Neumann Experience Center and Studio, which is in Bangalore.
So my name is Anish Panana. I am a sound engineer, a live sound engineer and a producer in the studio. I do recording as well, mixing, mastering, all of that. And I've been using this studio for the past 4-5 years probably with Varun. Through Swaratma, we met each other a long time ago, and then we work professionally also all the time. So I also have a YouTube channel where I have to, record people performing live, and then I usually feature them based on my perception of what a folk recording should be, and it's a folk channel, folk music channel. So once I record them in a location or at a venue, I usually get the files here to the Red Music Box, where I get these wonderful speakers, Neumann Cage 310, and then I critically listen to them. So when I listen to them, I look for human emotions to be intact, and then I want the clarity to be heard in a subconscious level, and that is possible only on these speakers. I've tried multiple studios around the city and probably other cities also, but in my experience personally, I love these speakers because of the clarity and the representation of what exactly is happening in a file or in a recorded file. So once I critically listen to them and I decide what to do with mixing, like processing of vocals or instruments, it could be anything. It could be a tabla, it could be a female vocal that I need to hear critically. And once I make a mixed decision, I master the file, and it's out on YouTube. It's mostly out on YouTube and other platforms as well. So that's the best thing about the studio. The thing that I look for is the actual clarity and the actual representation of the recorded file. So it makes me bring out the best result possible in a music performance.
So, what sort of equipment do you use to record in live and then?
So for my YouTube stuff that I do, or let's say other artists that I work with in the studio space, I usually recommend high-end microphones such as the Neumann U47. Simple reason, again, I want the emotions to be captured. Any mic can record audio, right? These days, cheaper mics can record audio as good as any other mic, but they cannot record the audio like I want it to be. Capturing the human emotion. It could be the subtle movements within the vocal cord, right? Or the human breath that cannot be recreated, if let's say if you're dubbing or anything. So once I capture the human emotions the way it is, I send it through these I use these mics for it's called a preamp, Neumann V402 preamp. These things are basically whatever is captured on those mics are represented in a correct manner, and that goes into the computer through the through the audio interface. So whatever is performed in a studio, it is exactly copied into the computer. Whereas what happens is, if you're using any other audio interface preamp, it is not exactly represented the way it is supposed to be. So this is very natural and very transparent, and it gets recorded straight into the computer. And from there, I spoke about the mixing process that I do, which is again listening to these speakers and then go forward with it. So yeah, this mic goes into the preamp and then goes into the computer. I do everything listening to these speakers. That's it. That's the Neumann thing that I do.
So as an user, do you have any feedback on this product, and do you feel there needs to be some additional features that might ease your job, or help you to make higher quality content?
So I was looking for those additional things that I was missing in all the other places, right? Studio and even the equipment wise. For example, I would not hear certain things on the speakers, but I would hear it on the headphones. But hearing it on headphones is a little different than hearing it in the studio with air flowing from the speakers to your hearing, So usually I was missing all those parts, and then when I came to this studio and I started using these 310 pair, I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm not going anywhere else, because this is what I want to hear. Right from 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz, I'm hearing everything clearly the way I want, and I don't need anything else apart from it. This is like the flagship, I would say, the Rolls Royce of equipment. So that's the feedback I have from the Neumann products.
Again, you might have been to multiple recording studios or processing studios. So, what are the key things that you really like about this Neumann Experience Center in Bangalore?
Like I said, in Bangalore, there was never a proper listening room for, let's say, for indie musicians. They do not have access to these studios that are usually working for film productions. Usually they don't get into that circle of things, So this particular studio, what has happened is, with Varun being part of Swaratma, he's part of the indie circle. So a lot of these indie musicians come to this place expecting a certain standard from Varun, and with these equipment on board here, he is able to deliver international quality stuff for the indie musicians, which who never had access to that kind of quality of results in terms of whatever they get. Even while they're recording, they can clearly make out the difference between the U47 and other cheaper mics, right? So it's like a thing. It's opened up a lot of things for people in the local scene. So yeah, I would say it's the best part. It's the best thing that has happened in the music scene for recording, at least in Bangalore, at least.
Again, you being a user, I have a question regarding: is it really viable for a budding creator to come and record or process his creations in his studio? So I'm talking in terms of financial viability. So your comment on that?
Absolutely. Because see, I'll tell you what, these musicians, their dream is to put out their stuff to the world one day, right? So you cannot do that. You can record, you can mix, you can master even in your bedroom studio. I'm not saying it's not possible. But will it meet the international standards that you're looking? Because you're looking at let's say if you're an artist, let's say you have John Mayer as your reference, as an artist that I want to be, or he's like the god for you. So when you do it in your bedroom, it may not sound even half of what John Mayer is doing, because he's recording in $1 million studios. So now the only thing that they can do is they can come up with a little bit of budget and then come to a place like this, and then if they even if they start recording for 5 minutes, they will know, oh my god, I made the right decision. So that if they have a little bit of budget, and they can, if they dream of having their music put out and to the entire world, this is the kind of place they need to come to. So yeah.
Tell me what makes a studio a Neumann Experience Center. So tell me about that.
It's not about the studio per se, I would say. It's about the people who are using and who understand the difference between the entry level and the kind of quality Neumann brings to the table. So it's the people who are going to use the equipment that makes a hell lot of difference, I would say. And as a brand, it was very particular about, we were very particular that who do we want to tie up with. So when this idea came up with Varun and Red Music Box, we knew that what we are getting into is something very special, because the kind of fraternity and connections Varun has, he is part of Swaratma as a band, and the kind of support he is giving to the indie music scene here in Bangalore, in and around area. So that made perfect sense for us to tie up with him and bring the Neumann quality to the young generation who are just upcoming artists and want to, are not able to afford a Neumann, but they can come and experience it here and then, eventually record their stuff in Neumann. So that is how it went.
Okay, so given there was a pandemic over the last few years, and it has affected a lot of businesses. So how did Neumann perform in India? Like, was there a increasing demand for your products, or like what really happened in terms of business?
I guess we had an exponential demand for Neumann products in India in last 2 to 2.5 years, because eventually the end users who knew about Neumann, as my friend here Anish mentioned it, that it is called the Rolls Royce of microphones and even studio monitors for that matter. So the perception is that it is a premium product. I can only go to a professional studio setup and record on it or listen to it. But what pandemic did, that eventually when everybody was confined to a small space, to their bedrooms or their home studios, they realized that if I have to be here, I have to record quality stuff. I am not able to go to the professional studio. I need something quality. So instead of putting in X amount, they were ready to put in 3x or 4x amount to bring that quality stuff to their bedroom or to their home studio. So eventually in last 2 to 2.5 years, I guess the perception which was there, that turned into reality, and many new users, newcomers, amateurs are moving to this quality stuff from Neumann.
According to my knowledge, I think most of your products are very specific to studios and the high grade music producers. But are you planning to come up something that is a little more affordable, given a lot of vloggers are outside, a lot of video producers who are just try to record using whatever the equipment they have, like phones and stuff? Look, do you plan to bring any affordable audio ranges, say microphone or something like that in the future in India?
I would be very candid with you that we don't intend to do that, because Neumann is a product which is handmade as far as microphones are concerned. That is one fact we are very proud of. So all the Neumann microphones are made in Germany, and they are all handmade microphones. So they are made by certain quality standards by people over there, and we want to maintain that. So in order to maintain that, we start with a specific range of price point, and we would like to maintain that particular thing going forward also. So I mean, not in near future. There are no plans of coming out with any entry level microphones per se.
Yeah. Is there any upcoming product that should excite the studio people or even the artists like Anish?
Definitely. So exciting lineup is there from Neumann in the coming next 2 years, I would say. A lot of good old microphones are getting reissued. So you have the legendary M49 which was there, that is getting reissued this year. New monitors are there in the pipeline. New headphones are there. Open back headphones are there in the pipeline. So a lot of exciting stuff coming the professional studio setup way. And at the end of the day, even if you take the home artist or the studio artist, okay, the mixing engineer here or sitting at home, at the end of the day, what matters is value for money. So I would say Neumann is a brand which is the most attractive value for money. If you put in investment, if you are ready to put in that additional investment, these products last for generations. So even if you are putting in say 4x from a regular product, they would last you 4x eventually, durability, longevity wise. So yeah, coming back to your question, I guess there are a lot of exciting stuff there in pipeline.
Okay. Given Neumann is now part of Sennheiser, so
Yes.
what's your take on that?
I guess it is an amazing collaboration that has happened, because it was, I guess, in early 90s that Sennheiser took over Neumann, and after that, one thing which I can proudly say is they have ensured that the quality and the stature of Neumann remains. There is no dilution at all. So Neumann has been there from 90 years, but Sennheiser took over it in early 90s, right? So they have given the Neumann establishment, the R&D team, complete free hand to continue whatever legacy they had. There is no dilution. So that is a fact I really like about it.
If there is an increase in demand, do you plan to set up an assembly plant or manufacture Neumann products in India?
No, unfortunately no, because there is already a surge in demand, as I mentioned, during the pandemic. So we have already tripled the production of microphones, doubled the production of studio monitors in Germany. But that is how we will continue to be, because as I said, manufacturing these microphones, the kind of the technology, the man hours you need. So in near future, I do not see that happening in India at least.
Okay, so how big the Neumann market especially in India, and can you comment on that?
To be very frank with you, it is a very unorganized market, so we do not have any data points as of now on this. But in premium microphone segment, if you ask me, we are the number one brand in the premium microphone segment. Obviously, then there are other brands also, but in the premium, we are the number one brand in India, and even in globally. If you ask me, there could be arguments over there, but that is my take on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you all the viewers of Gizbot. Really happy to have done this video. And for more product information, please visit the Neumann.com website. And if you wish to make a booking, or if you wish to come over to the studio and try out these products, if you live somewhere down south in India and you wish to come over here and experience these things yourself in person, then please reach out to us. You can contact us by going to our website, theredmusicbox.com, and leave us a mail or a message, and we'll be more than happy to have you come here, listen to your music through these speakers to believe it yourself. Thank you.